Welcome to this week's OK at Work with myself, Sarah Sawyer, my colleague Russell Berger, attorneys at Offit Kurman. And this week we're talking about employee well-being, mental health issues in the workplace, what that employees might be struggling with right now. It's no secret that every time you turn on the TV or look at your news feed, there's a lot going on, a lot of crazy things. We're filming this on July 5th, so it's the day after 4th of July, when there was a shooting at a 4th of July parade. So there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that can be problematic for employees, be causing a lot of stress. What are some things that employers can do for their employees during this time, or should be considering, just given these external factors right now, Russell?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it impacts employers in three different ways, at least high level. I mean, one is just the human aspect that, you have employees that work for you, and, when they're pained, stressed, anxious for whatever the reason, bound to have some empathy for them. Number two, it affects productivity and engagement at work. If you're worried about something outside the workplace, if that's what's on an employee's mind, it means the work isn't on their mind when they're at work. So, there's that cost. And then third, and we see, this is where we tend to be more involved, is we see it from an ADA perspective, ADA being the law that requires reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities. We get called a lot now on stress and anxiety and disabilities related to managing stress and anxiety and mental health more broadly. I know we recently talked about that on one of these episodes, but that's another challenge where employers are seeing it. So with that kind of background, it makes sense for employers to be proactive and to provide resources to employees, to help address stress, anxiety, mental health, wherever it's coming from, so that the employee's happy, healthier, a better employee, more productive.
And we've seen that there's employee assistance programs that employers can make use of. There's services you can subscribe to essentially as an employer, that you can provide external resources for your employees. And I've been seeing an uptick in the use of those types of services. That's a good way for employers to be able to lend support, give an option for employees to call an external source that they feel comfortable calling, and that it's not going to be the employer knowing exactly what's going on with them. So that's one good option. And just, in acknowledgement sometimes that these things are happening. I know we saw, in the past that there's been a lot of increase in health programs and things that employers are offering additional benefits to physical wellness. And this is just kind of another aspect of that, of keeping those things in mind, and what additional resources you can provide employees. And we've talked a lot about on OK at Work about the hiring issues and retention issues. And so this is just another piece of that as well. It's we want to care about our employees because for very varying reasons, but retention and to your point, Russell, just making sure that people while they're at work are able to work efficiently, and it's helpful to have some added benefits and things as well. So on top of the obligations that you have under the ADA, there's also some benefits that you can provide outside of that in a proactive way that help employees be efficient and helps with retention, and might be also a good selling point when you're bringing employees in as well.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think it's also just a management style. It's a management choice to manage with the awareness that, I mean, we were hyper vigilant about it, particularly during the height of COVID, because everyone across the world was dealing with it and stressed out by it in some form or fashion. But those stresses and those anxieties still exist. Even if COVID is not what it was in 2020, COVID stress is still out there. So are, general universe, watch the news stress, let alone anything that people have in their normal everyday lives stress. So it's just a management choice. And this is not to say, you shouldn't manage. I think you should be proactive. And we've done, a million hours on here about why that's a very important thing from an employer perspective. But do so understanding that you're talking to a human who's got stuff on their plate and is working through these things. So you provide the resources, like you mentioned, Sarah. You engage with people in a human way when you do manage them. I think that's really a really important reminder right now.
Yeah, we don't work in a bubble, so always good to keep all of these things in mind. Well, thank you, Russell. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Sarah.